Come with me as I make beef ankle stew for the very first time. Now, back in March, we got our very first quarter cow from a local farm, and with it were a lot of cuts I wasn't familiar with, one of which was the shin. And yes, these are shins and not ankles, but when I looked it up, it all comes from the same place, the beef shank. I then cut up mushrooms, carrots, celery, and onions and sauteed them in a pan. Prior to cooking the vegetables, I had already browned the shins, so I'm now just adding the brown shins to the cooked vegetables. I don't own a Dutch oven or a slow cooker, so I put them in the deepest stove pan that I could find and then wanted to fully submerge all the meat in some beef broth. I then added some seasoning, and let me tell you, this grandpa's beef stew seasoning was bussin'. I see you, grandpa. I then wanted to add some frozen peas to the mix, and then I covered and let it simmer for 2 hours. I don't know where the 4 minutes came from, but it never hurts. Once it started to simmer, I put it on low, and then I cut up some potatoes because I was really keen on pairing this with some mashed potatoes. Once they were all cut up, I then rinsed them and added them to some salted water. Once they boiled and were drained, I then added some heated milk and melted butter. And I don't own a potato masher, so I used a wooden spoon and got the mash in. After whipping things up a little bit, I added some seasoning to the potatoes, and then I got back to whipping. The meat continued to cook, and then when it got to about 30 minutes left, I wanted to check on the meat. The meat is starting to get tender, but it is still attached to the bone, so I wanted to continue to let it cook for the remainder of the timer. I then got back to whipping my mashed potatoes, and they are coming along quite nicely. At around 3 minutes left, I wanted to check the meat again, and finally, the meat had fallen off the bone. Tenderism. Now, again, with this being my first time slow cooking meat, I was so fascinated by how tender this meat was actually getting. Ding, 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 time's up. Now everything is complete, and the meat is amazing. Everything smells and tastes so good, and I cannot wait to put it all together. I'm really excited about how my mashed potatoes came out. They came out to perfection of my liking, and I could not wait. I so strongly recommend buying from a local farm if you can, because the meat quality is the best that I've ever had in my life. We spent about $1,000 for this quarter cow, and in the future I plan on putting money aside to save up for it because we know we want to continue to get meat this way. It was literally the best quality and worth the money. This is all that was left, just some bones and broth. The broth was delicious, and when I tell you that these beef ankles got they got a 10,000 out of 10 recommend.